All right, we're back.
We're back.
Well, actually, these come out like a week or so.
So it doesn't
apart,
matter, right?
But we were here earlier today, so we're back.
The second one.
Just changed the clothes and
we're in hiatus like for what, 3 hours, 3 or 4 hours?
5.
5 hours?
Yeah.
We survived Hollywood for 5 hours, guys. I don't know.
Carlo, we had one podcast from 1 to 2, and then we realized that it would take like an hour with traffic to get home, or more than an hour. So we just hung out. Sat in our cars, listened to music, went for a walk, got a coffee.
Traffic is terrible, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
5 hours. So I want to thank you for coming.
Yeah, of course.
mean, we just met like a week or so ago, and I put you on the spot, and we did a scene together.
Yeah.
And the great Tom Sizemore's class, who we're all praying for. We talked about it a little bit on our last podcast, and our last episode that he's in bad shape, and we're just hoping
sending our
praying
prayers and our
praying
best
for
to
him.
the family. Yeah, really excited to have you, man.
Yeah,
Carlo Mendez. Holy shit,
thank you
dude,
for
no
having me.
less.
Right.
Well, we both got to. I got to work on a scene with this guy too.
That's right.
And it was fun. It was fun. We're in Sizemore's class, Tom Sizemore's class, and we were like blessed to have Carlo come in, and then he was very humbled and said, "Hey, I'll do the scene, sure." And he just started rambling like he does, like really quickly, and it seemed like he had already like learned the text, and it was fun. It was fun time.
It was
really
cool
fun.
to do it on the spot.
And Tom gave the note about, all right, Jim. He goes, I don't want to mimic him because God, I don't want to mimic, but he
sounded a little bit like
Jimmy, I want you to do it how you're in the car with talking to your son, because he used to always hear me talk to my son, and he'd say, hey, your dad, you got a good pops here, you're doing good in school, and then I don't want to lose it, but anyway. Yeah, I don't want to choke up. But he did mention that. So then that changed the dynamic of the scene for me, from my end anyway.
And you did, and he gave you great direction. Like, so when he gave you that direction, you completely made it more personal.
More personal, right?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And
But talking about the difference between someone showing up and a professional actor, which is who you are. You're a professional actor.
Thank you.
And I asked you, hey, can you do this scene with me? And I mean, we barely read through it.
Yeah, just one time.
You just grabbed it. You went off the page.
it was cold
And
raid.
the funny thing, I found it kind of funny as we're getting ready to do it and everything. You're playing my son. And there's this scene where I've got to like sit you down and really, kind of rough, and you say like, I'll call the cops. You do that again. I'm thinking to myself, this is so funny because you could like knock me over with your little finger, but you sold it. Like you sold it like you were this guy who respected his dad, even as angry as you were.
Yeah.
And like you said, you don't want to hit your dad, because I've been in those situations with my own father, where it got kind of, because my dad was Irish and he was just like. I mean, he was
physical.
Pretty, like he never hit me, but he always told me someday you're gonna fight. We're gonna fight. I was like, what? I don't want to fight you.
Are you serious? Or like,
but he was like that. Like, it was kind of. So I had a lot of respect for him, and but that was a great scene. I mean, the way you stepped up and you I thought it was so good the way you kind of sold it as you were my son, and we were having this.
You remember he came in firing on all cylinders. He
like
came in raging, like,
that's,
whoa, dude, he just took it to the next level.
That's the way you had to come into that scene.
Yeah, that's what it required.
And
I've never seen the movie, and I don't know anything about that scene. But because my character was looking for his drugs or something.
Yeah.
So I figured, okay, I can't just start off the scene sitting down. I have to come in like, where is it? Where is it?
You were worked up.
Right,
you were worked up. Yeah.
Because your first line is like, where is it? I know you took it. Give it back. Yeah. And I said I flushed it down the toilet.
Yeah.
And then that, of course,
wait a minute. You say, you serious?
And this is really crazy because I have a funny little story I heard, and I don't know if I'm going to tell it right. But
that's off, by the way. I don't know.
Oh well. It looks like we're not getting it. Can I get up and just turn it on?
Yeah.
So hey, you guys take over.
No, not at all.
It's we do a little bit of a live.
Okay.
Yeah, we do lives, and
let me just get this back to.
How was traffic, Carlo, coming from your place?
I'm literally 5 minutes away.
No wonder you're like, I'm just leaving. I'm like thinking, dude, are you serious? The traffic's gonna hit you?
No, I'm literally 5 minutes away. I live on La Brea and Fuller.
So
Oh,
this is so
Fullerton.
cool.
Yeah, Fullerton.
thank you
All
for
right.
that.
No, Fuller.
They're going to go hunt you down.
Yeah, right. No, I'm literally 5 minutes away.
All right,
So I was
cool,
like, when I
cool.
saw how close I was like, oh, I can live here at 6:55.
It was like a hop, skip, and a jump. I actually heard you go, all right, I'm leaving. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
So I heard this story where it was Jeff Daniels and James, the great late James Gandolfini.
Oh, wow.
And they're doing a play. I think it was at the Geffen. And so I don't know what happened, but I heard this story from a friend of mine who I think was there. And like, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Al Pacino doing something on Broadway or, the best actors in the world.
Yeah.
You never stop.
Yeah.
You just don't.
Yeah.
You just keep going no matter what. I don't care if somebody falls off the stage and breaks their neck. You either add it in and figure out a way to keep going with it.
Make it part of the scene.
Yeah.
So the story goes is that James Gandolfini was coming out on stage and he had some kind of cough or something. Like he was coughing. I don't know, maybe something about his lines or whatever, but he goes, you know what? We're going to start over. I'm going to just start this over. And he walked back off stage and the whole audience is there and everything. And I guess Jeff Daniels sat on the couch where he was, and he put his feet up and he goes, okay, I guess this is happening. Or this is, we're going to do this. Like, I've never heard of it happening. Like, it just, that's the number one rule is, the show must go on. Just keep going.
You got to keep
So
going.
let's go on.
But I was doing the same scene with this guy who we had already filmed this scene as an exercise in the class that I'm in. And I don't know what happened. We were doing it for a different class, just putting it up for the students and stuff, and the teacher. It was a Chekhov class because we were working on this and something else. And the kid came in with no energy at all. Like he was just totally flat. He just walked in and he said, that's not how we've been working on it.
Yeah.
That's not how
For the same scene that we did?
The same scene. And that's not how we filmed it and everything. And I stopped. I said, hey, whoa, and everybody was just like shocked because everyone knows you don't do that. But I did it. And I said, can I have a moment with him? And I walked over and I whispered in his ear. I said, what's going on? What's wrong? I said, you got to, come on, where's the energy? You got to come in. Like, and it worked out really, really well because he kind of got himself together and came in with the energy. I felt bad for doing that, and I was texting him, and when I saw him, I apologized. I said, I shouldn't have done that. It wasn't my business. It wasn't my place or anything, but I just didn't want to see him come into the scene. Like, it was just the very beginning.
I think it's constructive criticism is
over.
okay. Anytime you give someone, your pal or the fellow person that's you're working off of. So I think it's okay to do that, right?
I think,
What do you think?
I think it's great that you did that because I can have some, of course, right? It's like I remember saying in Tom's class. Oh, I'll drink it from here.
Yeah, because that's brand new.
Yeah, I was like,
just gonna
that's
stop
probably
here and say,
not
it's brand
clean yet.
new. Yeah.
Charles, you didn't use it.
Yeah, right. Like I said, working in Tom's class, like when it comes to acting, it's you're working as partners, teammates.
That's right.
So if you feel like your scene partner isn't bringing it or doing something, you it's okay, in my opinion, to take them aside and tell them because I'd want the same thing it being done to me.
That's right.
And I'll do that to my scene partner. Like, hey, I think that, and it's never about this is the way it should be.
Right.
I always go like,
Right.
I think maybe try this.
Right.
You still have to like kind of like do that unless you're an acting coach,
Right.
or the director. And still, directors from the most part that I've worked with aren't like, oh, like this. No, it's, you be nice about it. Like, hey, maybe try like this. I think this way, and I think it's good and fair to do that because it's teamwork.
Yeah.
Because imagine, have you ever seen a movie where like, or a scene or something where one actor's bringing it in, the other one isn't, and it's so flat. And it just doesn't work. It doesn't work like
it
that.
Doesn't.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure what was happening, but because it was a class and because this guy's a good friend of mine and we had worked together so well, something just wasn't right. And I just wanted to give him that opportunity to show what we could do because we had already been working on this.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a raw, and then I showed him what we did too. And he was so impressed. I said, this is like, look at the energy that he comes in with. And
Oh,
look
somebody
at how
recorded it? What we did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I have that. I remember I was saying I could send that to you. If you
Yeah, that's
want
right.
me
Send it to me. I would love to see
It is great. Because we worked with it through the dialogue, even if we got a little lost.
Yeah.
We just made it work.
Yeah.
And we talked about that beforehand. You said, hey, if we go off,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
we're
improv
gonna-
a little bit,
we're
'cause,
gonna do
yeah,
a
I
little
didn't-
improv, right?
yeah.
Because we're gonna make it work.
You guys made it work. It was good.
Yeah. So
Now let me ask
that
you
was
something
wonderful.
about of the craft, like where did you take shape in learning the craft? Where did your early beginnings in theater, maybe?
No, never done theater.
Okay. Really?
I did this one little play that had 2 lines, so I don't even consider it. I've always wanted to be an actor. I just lived in Miami and I came out here, but I've always wanted to be an actor. I loved watching movies. I got punished a lot when I was a kid, so the only thing I had was my imagination, and then watching movies when I can. And I used to work in a movie theater, and I always was in this state of imagination of pretending I was on a movie set, like being in action, things being blown up, and stuff like that. So I just came out here to start taking acting classes and failing and being terrible and being shy and being scared, all this stuff, and I've been doing it for 14 years now. I'm not still per se in the world of I'm a working actor. I still have a night job. I still audition, but I'm working towards it. But I feel better. I'm more confident. I've been doing it for a long time now, and eventually, you stay
the course, right?
Stay the course. Something big will happen. Something will happen, get you to the next level. But I've been doing it for a long time. But it's been through all the ups and downs of just failing and being terrible and sucking and oh my god, and not realizing things. But I've been working hard. I've been working hard to get better.
One of the things I gather about Carlo, real quick, is that he's humble and he's very real. He's very genuine about. You're not like sugarcoating. This is where I live and this is what I do. And like a lot of people on social media, you keep it real. You got your night job and you're good at it. And you've also said it takes very important that I wouldn't consider it like failing, maybe a lesson learned from that, right? Because it takes all those pitfalls in order to get back up, as they say, from your bootstraps and move forward. And you have that inclination. I see that you're pretty gun ho about it, and you're chasing your dream.
It's the only way to be, I guess. Like when I work my night job, I've been at the same job for 13 years bartending.
Good.
And people are like, you've been here for so long. What are you, one of the owners? I'm like, no, I'm just a bartender.
Yeah.
Or when they find out who my sister is, they're like, "Oh, does she own this?" I'm like, "No, that's
I wasn't going to bring her up.
Yeah,
I said we're not gonna like bum rush her with that.
But I get it. It comes up.
We'll talk about that later. So keep watching.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, I'm just a bartender. Oh, really? You have nothing to do with this bar? Like, no, nothing. I've been here just since day one. I'm an actor during the day. I bartend at night, which I love and it's fun.
What is the other assumption that if you're attached to someone famous, that you automatically become? You should be working in Hollywood already, making the big bucks.
Or even if they don't know who that is, they still, like at parties, I get asked a lot when I do private parties.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, so what do you do? I'm like, I'm an actor. Oh, why aren't you famous yet? I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't work that way, you know?
Yeah, they also probably take into consideration that, you know, you have a good look.
Yeah.
For the business.
For the business,
and you look great on camera and everything. But, you know, there's a couple different ways to look at it. Like there's always that Thomas Edison thing where, you know, thousands of ways that didn't work. And he looked at it like, well, that's just one more way that I know. That I don't know how it goes.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. One more way that didn't work. Yeah,
yeah,
he failed 10,000 times and then found the one way that it did work. You know,
and that's all it takes. That one door,
time,
that one right hand. You know, that hand that you shake, that right one.
Yeah.
That gets you to wherever it is. You know that you need to go to. So it's pretty.
I love what someone told me, and they said just one yes can change everything.
Change your life,
in this
dude.
business. The trajectory of your life can go. Just because of one yes, one project, an indie movie, something that just puts you on that course that all of a sudden it starts going, the trajectory starts going up.
Yeah, that's all it takes. Like, you guys ever seen the movie Troy?
Uh-huh.
Okay, the one that played Brad Pitt's cousin in the movie.
I remember him well.
Okay.
He was really
he was
great.
here for a month. God, what's his name? I always remember his name. Oh, Garrett Hedlund.
Okay.
He was here for a month.
Uh-huh.
Came here for acting, was a modeling, whatever, and some agent saw him, asked him to audition, and booked that movie.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is history, and he's been a working
What
actor ever
the
since.
fudge?
Being here for a month.
There's another story I heard. I love these, by the way. I could all day. But I think it was The Big Short.
Okay.
And there was a guy who was a stand-in who was reading lines with the principal actor, and he was so good that they gave him a couple of lines, and they gave him more, and they gave him more.
What?
Next thing you know, he's
Stole the show.
like a main guy in the.
I got a real good one for you guys. Jay Hernandez. So keep it short. Jay Hernandez, who's a Magnum PI. This guy, the new Magnum PI, in Hawaii, he was in an elevator.
Yeah.
And this guy approached him and said, "Here's my card." This is many years ago. It's one of his first films was, if I'm not mistaken, Crazy Beautiful. I think it's one of his first films that kind of catapulted him to a next level. Gave him a card. He called him. This guy, I guess, had something to do with Crazy Beautiful, the movie, and then he dies. The guy dies shortly after meeting him, and he put him in the film. And as they say, the rest is history.
Wow, I didn't know. I heard that he was discovered being in an elevator.
An elevator, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know all the rest of that.
Jay Hernandez.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was up to do a movie with him.
Yeah.
Playing a pair of brothers in a boxing movie. And I auditioned for like 4 or 5 times, going back and forth. I was like, I got this. And all of a sudden, never heard anything again. Yeah. Then, while later, I met him. I was bartending, and I met him. I'm like, Jay, I got to tell you, man, there's this movie that you were attached to that I was boxing. He's like, yeah, I love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies that I want to do. The script was amazing, this and that. I'm like, what happened? He's like, we just couldn't get funding for it. And it was a great script. Great. And I would have been playing, I believe, his younger brother. And I'm like, man, I auditioned for it like 4 times. He's like, fuck, that would have been amazing to do and stuff like that. Yeah.
I got something to tell you, James and Carlo, that came out of our friendship, I could say. I brought you both on the Emergence 2028. I got you both.
Yeah.
And Tom Sizemore was supposed to be on. And
he still could. Maybe,
and Biling and you know, so there's Emergence 2028. You got to get a sense of the script and what it is, and it's going to be really good stuff, and it's going to be shooting in the next couple months. You're going to have a part in it. You're already signed on, right?
Yeah,
you're signed on, and I know our dear friend Tom, and I know I'm sorry you had to come back. You know that whole
because I was going to ask you about the movie you did with Tom.
There's
a lot of buzz about the Jack and Diane.
Yeah.
And I won't go into it, but you might have heard that when John Mellencamp, whatever, I don't know who he's going, what is it?
Mellencamp?
But he's great. I mean, he's one of my favorite artists as far as music. Yeah. I grew up with that music. The song Jack and Diane was about something else. And the recording studios and the powers that be said, no, you can't. You can't have that song to be about that.
Interesting.
It was about an interracial relationship.
Holy cow!
Is that the song? That's what it's supposed to be about?
Heard. Yeah, fact check everything I say.
That's the 80s.
Okay,
it's the 80s, right? Is it the 80s?
Yeah, but he wrote it like that, and they made him change it, and they said, nope, you're not going to do that.
Who knew?
Interesting.
Yeah. Wow. So the movie.
Yeah, tell us about it.
What can you tell us about?
Yeah, I mean,
what it's about, or
it's about Jack and Diane, who these young lovers who live out in the middle of Nebraska or somewhere like that, and she's tired of living there. She works at a fish store, and
your character.
I'm sorry?
What is your character in
my character, I play a cop. I'm Tom's partner.
Montalvo or Montana?
Montana.
Yeah, dude.
Wow. Yeah. And this is in the can, ready to be released?
Yeah, it's in the can already. It's finished up. And it should be
post-production?
just about finished to be released.
Wow.
Yeah. Or it might even be released.
But I want to be careful not to say too much about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil it.
But it's a fun action movie. I play Tom's partner, and we go after
the great Tom Sizemore.
Right here.
Yeah. We go after Jack and Diane because one of them ended up killing somebody, and it belongs to and it was somebody from the cartel. And the cartel's after them. We're after them. And then there's like a good twist that you find out, which I'm not gonna give away, of course. Yeah. You find out, you're like, oh shit, I didn't see that coming. So it was fun. It was awesome to work with Tom.
So it's a suspenseful, Anyway,
I love those. Yeah.
About them Dodgers, right? So that's how you met Tom.
That's how I met him the second time. The first time I met him was years ago. I'll tell you this story.
Tell us the story.
Yeah.
So I had been invited to an Oscars party, not at the Oscars,
a viewing party,
which was Elton John's viewing party by Stephen Bauer. Stephen Bauer was a friend of mine, from Scarface.
I love Stephen.
Yeah. He's cool, dude.
So he invited me, and this is one of my first big things that I go to, and like there's just, everybody who wasn't at the Oscars was at this viewing party, which still a lot of big names.
Yeah,
So
sure.
I'm sitting at the table with Maria Conchita Alonso. I got Stephen Bauer there with his date, and a couple of people. I see Seal and Heidi Klum. Then next to me, I'm sitting next to Tom. And I'm like, oh shit, Tom Sizemore.
Yeah.
He's been in a bunch of movies that I love, man.
Right.
Fuck.
Right.
So he's sitting next to me, and there's nobody here on my side, on the other side of me, and I'm like, gonna strike up conversation. At the time, Tom has a mohawk.
Yeah.
Like, I'm guessing for a
Yeah,
movie,
he
He
obviously,
rocks
right?
that mohawk.
Yeah.
Still sporting it. He was still sporting it the last time we saw him. Remember?
Yeah, so but it was like mohawk.
Mohawk.
Yeah, and
Full on mohawk.
full on mohawk. You know, it wasn't long, but it was shortened, but still, it was just
But it was like the.
It was a
I've
mohawk.
seen it.
Yeah.
I was looking at some Getty pictures, and you know, sometimes it looks a little wonky or something, but other times it's like a really cool.
It was a mohawk. Yeah, there's no denying it. It was a
Right.
full on mohawk. So I'm like, and I thought it was pretty cool. I'm like, hey man, hi, my name is Carlos. He's like, hey, I'm Tom, and I'm like, hey man, I like your mohawk. He's like, I don't.
Really?
Stone cold. Look at me. I don't. Turn his face away. Did not speak to me again for the rest of the dinner.
Oh my
I was
god!
like, oh, he's not liking it. He's not in a good mood. I'm
Tom's
like,
hard to get to know.
yeah. He
felt
probably
that.
wasn't in a good mood at the
No,
time.
you know, I think he's and Tom's the nicest guy in the world. He is definitely
bro.
not
Super sweet.
He's
Yeah.
not an asshole
Never.
in the least of the sense.
Yeah.
But I did notice he doesn't just let people get in and be close to
He
him
has a tight
because a lot
circle.
of people want that.
Of course.
And just because he's Tom Sizemore and he's done all these movies. I really liked him because, and I ended up by getting to know him, and we kind of bonded, and I told him some things, and he believed me because he could tell I'm not just kissing his ass or anything, but I told him that whenever he was in a movie, these great movies, and you know, next to Tom Hanks or Robert De Niro or you know whatever, like I found him really interesting to watch on screen.
Yep.
Like, and I think a lot of us
100%.
agree with that.
Yep.
Him
that
and Madsen.
he was-
Is that
And,
Madsen?
and then I mentioned because you know got a little quiet. We were driving in the truck, got a little quiet, and I said, and Michael Madison's the
Yeah,
same way. And he goes, oh yeah, we're real similar. Like a lot of
Yeah.
people compare us.
Michael Madsen.
They're good
Yeah,
friends.
yeah.
They're good friends.
Yeah. They're very similar. So I'm guessing they always
Yeah.
had parts back and forth.
But it took a while for me to get to know Tom, and I always liked the idea that we were close in age. And you know, we started bonding, and we were going to be working out together. You know, a couple of he said he could show me because I'm you know I'm not like proficient in knowing how to.
You could have fooled me,
I'll
dude.
yeah, right. I offered Carlo. I could you know, show you some tips.
I
right?
think it bench press both of us.
right. And he said, "Yeah, I could, you know, show you. I could put you through a workout, you know." And we kept trying to schedule it. And I have these text messages I'm going to read to like the class and stuff someday.
You got to read it now, bro.
Yeah.
No
Oh,
chance.
dude, it's so,
So hilarious,
funny.
huh?
It's so hilarious. Let me read a couple of these
While he's going through that,
messages.
I used to drive him. I used to be his limo driver many years ago.
Oh, you were? Okay.
Yeah, and I wrote a book, well, co-wrote with another friend of mine, a book, and there's a story where he goes out in the town, right?
Mhm.
And he starts off, what was it, like 4 chicks? It was like 4 girls. He was always around girls, right? So he's surrounded by 4 girls. And the only other guy that had that many girls and a couple of guys was Andy Dick.
And
Back in the day, you know, who doesn't have an Andy Dick story?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a whole other story.
Yeah, it is.
Tom Sizemore, I picked him up, and he had a huge. I think it was at one of the hotels here in Hollywood, if I remember correctly. And he jumps in the car with like 4 girls, then goes to a couple of strip joints. They kind of go bar hopping of sorts, and then he gets back into the car with an extra 4 chicks. Like he ends up getting to his house like 8 or 9 girls.
Damn.
He goes, "Hey, bro, we had a good night." And he gives me $50, just $50. You'll be hearing from me soon. And it was so down to earth guy. I mean, you know what he was. And then come circle back, like 10, 12 years later. You know, we hang out. We're in the class.
hang
with
out,
him.
you're in a class together, yeah.
It's pretty cool.
That's what I was gonna say. Is like it's when Tom lets you in and he likes you and he considers you a friend. He cares about those people so much. Like he's got such a big heart. He's so generous at the class teaching. He wants people to really, you know, one of the first things he said is, I want to teach you guys how to get working.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing this for, right? You
Yeah.
want to make money. You want to throw away the tuxedo, as he says. You
What
want
I
to get rid of
said,
the
don't be the
tuxedo
limo driver anymore. Looks like
or whatever, you know, get rid of your day job. So
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. But so I did a scene for Tom. Well, we did it in the class, and it was this with Marie, the French girl. She's really nice. She's very talented. She's in the director's program over at UCLA.
super cool. Submarine.
We did this scene. It was called Poison. It's a 10-minute play out of the Louisville 10-minute play volume 3 books. And Tom was blown away. I mean, he really loved the scene. He
liked it.
said, now, I think he might have been being nice, kind of, but I know he liked it. He said, "This is the best acting I've seen in an acting class in 35 years." Right?
Nice.
So I was like, "Oh, I don't care if he means it or not. It's so great to
Yeah, it
hear."
felt good. That it came
Felt
from-
good. Yeah,
That was
yeah.
a good scene. You guys put it up really well. You
then,
and Marie did
like,
an awesome job.
So we shot it as a short. That didn't go all that well, but we're going to shoot it again because we love this piece, Marie and I. So we put it up a couple times, and then we were done with it.
Yeah.
We performed it. We did it. We filmed it. We were done with it. Like, you know how it is when you're finished with something, you don't look at it.
Yeah.
Well, it's like 3-4 weeks later. Tom had a whole bunch of people in his class that showed up and everything, and he comes over to me. He goes, "Jimmy." He never called me Jimmy. He always called me James because everybody knew me by James in the class. But every once in a while, he called me Jimmy. He goes, "Hey, why don't you do that Poison? Why don't you do that right now for the class?" I said, "Tom, I haven't even looked at it." Like he goes, "You know it. You know, once you start doing it, it'd be fine. Just do it for me. Would you please? Could you do Poison for me?" And I said, "I was no saying no."
Yeah.
I mean, he wanted me to.
Yeah.
He wanted us to do that. So Maria and I go up there. I'm talking to her. I'm like, "Do you want to run through the lines?" She goes, "I haven't even looked at it." Like she said, "We'll be okay though." And
was this just recent? The last time you guys did it?
No, it was a while ago.
Okay.
And we crushed it. I mean, we didn't miss. We probably got the lines better than when we did it when we were working on it like the month earlier.
It was funny how that happens.
It was just one of those
Bat it out of the park.
It was a great moment when we finished it and we knew, wow, that something was happening there. We did a great job. Yeah. So Tom was going to be teaching at another school, and he texted me. He said, "Jim, fun hanging out, bro. Let's get to training and do this." Because we talked about this 6-month assault we were going to do on Hollywood, and he was going to help me get on the map, and we were going to his big comeback and everything. And he said, "Also, can you and Marie come to my class on Tuesday or Thursday night and perform Poison? I'll explain my rationale later if you guys can make it." I said, "Absolutely, 100%. So I says, "Tom, I got to shoot something on Friday. I'm meeting with Marie tomorrow, and we'll work on Poison." He goes, "It's not necessary anymore, Jim. I'm not going to go into this because it's a little personal." But he says, "Yeah, just things aren't working out. I'll explain later, right?" Yeah. So I said, "Okay, whatever." And then I said, we still have our 6th month. We're going to get fit, tan, ready to do damage to this town and slay in the work and our pursuit." And I told him that I could do the Poison in class for the Saturday class, and people people will step up their work when they see us do this
for sure.
So he goes, "Blow the doors off," and yes, we are. That wasn't the part I was going to read. I got to go back, but because this was really funny. I was actually reading it to Lonnie.
You read to me earlier, the Times.
Oh, dude,
hysterical.
it's so funny. Here, let me just start right here.
In Tom fashion, for sure.
Yeah. He goes, "I want to work out, but I don't like to go to the gym. I have everything we might need at my pad. I just need to break the ice a little bit, get back into it. I've never really enjoyed working out in, public places. It could potentially become social. It's just my hang up." So I said, "Okay, perfect, fine."
Makes sense.
So he goes, "Let's meet here and do both." Because I had a scene. I mean, I had an audition I wanted him to help me with. This is where it gets funny. He goes, "Yeah, we'll work out and rehearse your audition for tomorrow. Maybe actually shoot it. Meet here at 3:00. Work for you?" I go, "3 is good. See you then. I appreciate your help with the audition, Tom." He goes, "Jim, how's 3:30? Because this was the next day, right? When I was going to come. I'm like, "Better." He goes, "Really? Cool. Want to do 4:00 start?" I said, "Either or are better for me." And that's what he said. "Either or are better for me." So I go, "I'm on my way. My ETA is 3:30. You want me to pick up anything for you? Coffee, smokes, food?" He goes, yes, James." I go, "Got you covered. I'll bring some Java, red apples, and grub." He goes, "Although I do want a pack of Marlboro Red Shorts, LOL, and Coca-Cola Classic, and or peach Snapple iced tea. Surprise me. Surprise my ass. Wowzer, I'm a bit of a spoiled asshole. Just kidding. Kinda. LOL. Tea, right?" So I go, "LOL, you want a frap?" He goes, "Yes." So he goes, "Jim, should we work out or eat first?" And I go, "We can eat and talk about the audition. I'm bringing you Der Wiener Schnitzel," because Jimmy told me he likes Der Wiener Schnitzel.
Yeah,
Chili cheese dog, fries. He goes, "Fuck, we're not working out, James. I don't think. Let's focus on the work. Just your audition. Let's kick its ass."
Yeah.
I said, "Okay." The audition came up. We can work out another time. See you in 15 minutes. And then he said, James, what's Lanny's name? Because my girlfriend is Lonnie Love, and her name's Lonnie. And he goes, Lanny. And he wanted to know her last name because he was going to tell somebody about her or something. But it was so funny because when I got there, we ate the Der Wiener Schnitzel and stuff, and we were talking about my audition that we were going to work, but there was really nothing. It was just more of me, like actions and stuff, and just a couple of lines. I can't say what it was for. But it was funny because he starts telling me these stories about how he interned for Sanford Meisner.
Wow.
For 16 months. And he said, I walked in there and they started talking about how much it was going to cost. And he goes, I just graduated from Yale. And, I was training over with some people from Juilliard and all these great schools. Right.
Yeah.
And he goes, I went on a football scholarship or something. He goes, I don't want to pay. I don't want to train. I want to work. I thought I'd come to this class and, whatever. And so the guy Meisner goes, no. Hey, you can work. You can be my intern. He liked Tom. And so Tom went into some details about that I won't go into, but it was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden we start talking about different things. And I can't remember what it was. I was talking about it like a time where I kind of forgot a line and I'm in front of an audience or anything. So Tom starts talking about Othello. And he goes, have you ever, read Othello? I said, I've read parts of it. And he's, oh my God, James, great play. You got to read it. It's the best. It's the best. Then he starts doing Othello for me in the kitchen. He starts doing all the lines and he starts telling the story about where I think somebody jumped some lines or he jumped some lines. But he just starts doing it like right
so
there.
Great, yeah.
I mean,
it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
Now we used to riff. Remember we're riffing on the way back from school with him in the truck, and then we started doing. We got him to do some lines, like literally to say some stuff. Yeah. And he used to, when I used to take him home, he did one of my favorite ones from Point Break, because it's like my favorite scene where he comes in and he essentially. It's Keanu and it was the other guy who plays Pappas, and he's working undercover, right, for the DEA, and then he plays and then suddenly they fucking fucked everything up. Yeah. 3 months of his whole thing, and it's a whole bust now. And then he comes in, he goes, "You think I like this?" He did the whole thing, and I was telling you, I was telling you, he went into the house and he started doing it for me. Right?
It was one of my favorite scenes that he's done. Man. Yeah, no, when we were in the truck, Jimmy's in the back seat and he starts just riffing, doing lines from all kinds of Tom's movies because he's looking it up on IMDb or whatever. That's funny. And Tom starts laughing, he loved it. Like he started laughing because he was just in that mood to where he was like, okay, because people are always probably walking up to him going, But there was one where it was from Heat, and I was just watching Heat the other night where he goes, for me, the juice is the action. Yeah, the juice is the action or something like that.
Yeah, with Robert De Niro, right? That's the part.
But he started doing his lines, from some of these movies to entertain us because that's how Tom is.
Yeah, that's him.
That's how he is. He just he's very generous when it comes to.
Yeah, I had a great time with him on set. I mean, he was nice, he was gracious, and we were just kicking the shit, and because we had banter going back and forth and provide some stuff, and I'm like, wow, it's freaking Tom Sizemore, who I would have never thought 20 years ago when I've seen all his movies and this and that I'd be working with him one day, So
much fun.
Yeah, that was awesome. So yeah, he's great. He's great.
And I started watching some of his movies, and I was like, I watched this movie, and he's thinking, and he'll tell a story for every movie he's worked on. He'll tell you about working with Oliver Stone, Steven Spielberg, Quentin Tarantino, scenes with rehearsing at Stallone's apartment.
That was a fun
going
story.
Into Tom Hanks's trailer and going over some stuff on Saving Private Ryan. I mean, the list is endless. Like Robert Miano said, he could tell a story like no one, and they're not made up stories.
No,
these are
real.
true, real
stories.
things that happened in his life on set.
He had a big career in Hollywood. I mean,
he did.
He was on top of the game for a long time.
A-list actor.
Yeah,
right. It was really,
which is not easy.
One of the coolest things is always watching. If you notice, he always had a book under his arm.
Always.
I was reading.
And we're praying for you, Tom. We want you to see this.
Yeah.
We're not talking about you like you're gone or anything. We just want you to get better. We want you to.
And he will. He'll get.
And he'll get better for sure. And we're happy you're here. And we, and I know, obviously, we're bringing him up because you this is how we met.
This is how we met, and
yeah.
I just worked on a movie with
Yeah,
him.
you just finished working a movie with him not long ago.
And we're thinking about him.
Yeah.
Because
It's in our
Saturday
prayers.
morning he had an
just
an
less than 5 days
aneurysm.
ago,
He had
yeah.
a medical emergency.
And all of us were shocked.
And he's been in critical condition.
I think I shot you a text, right?
Yeah, you're the one.
I told the broke the news.
Yeah, I remember thinking, I was like, oh shit, and then I go
Is it
online
the-
and I look, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And I'd just been in class the week before.
Yeah, we're hanging out. We're all there. And it was weird.
He's a strong, tough guy.
Yeah.
Right,
He's-
right.
he's
if
a
anyone can beat
strong-
the odds, Tom can.
He's a tough strong
cookie,
guy. So prayers for
anyway,
Tom.
so we have Emergence 2028, but tell us about other. I know you had stuff that you can talk about. I know there's one. I don't know what is it with the dads. Is that what it is?
Oh yeah,
Tell us about it.
a bad dad rehab.
Yeah, tell us
Oh.
about that.
Yeah, that's cool. I shot that over the pandemic in Atlanta, where I play a young father who's way too nice to his son, and there's a bunch of stories intertwined in one, but it's a rehab for dads to be better.
That's cool.
One dad was just too hard on his son. Me, I was too nice to my son. He'd walk all over me. So we all go to this rehab, and it's a cute, like a dramedy kind of film, feel good kind of film. I'm not a father myself, but all
you
this
can play
stuff-
one on TV.
Yeah, I play one on TV. Yeah, and
I always say that. I'm not a doctor, but I could play one,
play
on,
one on
TV.
TV, yeah.
I'm not a cop, but
yeah, I play those a lot.
yeah, me too. I used to get.
Yeah.
How about Parks and Rec?
Parks and Rec was so much fun to do. Oh my
wanna
god,
f-
I'm so happy I was able to do something. The Office is the only one I love. I never did anything with The Office, but Parks and Rec, I love that show. Chris Pratt and
Yeah.
It's a
Aubrey
good
Plaza
dude,
and
huh?
everybody was just so nice, so amazing. Amy Poehler, everybody was just so awesome to work with, and it's such a fun show. It's so much.
I
fun.
have a story about Parks and Rec that I never like to tell.
Tell us.
Now you have to tell us.
You have
have
to tell
to.
us. You
I don't know what I'm doing.
open the
I'm just like-
Pandora box.
Well, because when I took an interest in acting in high school because my father, we were moving out here from back east, from the East Coast, and we had already moved from Rhode Island to Massachusetts, and we were only there for about a year. I just made new friends. I don't know if you guys ever moved around, but I moved around a little bit. And he had a Boston accent, and he said, when we get to California, you're gonna go surfing and you can go skateboarding and you can take drama. Because and I said, I don't want to take drama. But when we got here, we were in LA and I took drama. And it's weird because out here they had like 9th grade. In this school they had 9th grade and high school.
high school.
With the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders.
Oh, junior high.
Yeah,
Was it?
which
Whip to
back
ninth.
east I never
Yeah.
even heard of that.
7,
before. I was
8th,
like,
and
what
9th.
was happening?
Back in the
know?
day, sure.
So anyway, as I took an interest in acting, I went to Newport Harbor High and I took drama there, and then I went to Orange Coast College and I took some classes, and I took some workshops and classes. But a buddy of mine said, "Hey, I'm going for this casting, and you want to come with me? But it's for background." I'm like, "What's background?" It was to do a little extra work. So a lot of guys when they're starting out, they do extra work.
Yeah.
And I had a painting company, so I painted houses with my dad, and it was hard work. And I owned my own business eventually, so I had the luxury to where if I wanted to, like I could just call up and get booked on a job and do some extra work for the day. And for me, it was like a vacation from painting. I enjoyed it. I liked to see what was going on. It didn't pay much, but I worked on some cool stuff. And I didn't realize how many over the years because I'd only do it once in a while. But then I realized, I worked on The Aviator. I worked on some of these different. So I worked on Parks and Rec. Yeah.
Oh, you did?
I worked on like some really great movies and TV shows as background though, and I more than I care to admit. I did some over the years, but so I'm on Parks and Rec. And this old guy who was playing a shoe shine guy, if you guys are fans of the show, you might have seen this episode where Gus, the old shoe shine guy, was going to be retiring. And I remember Amy Poehler was trying to help him with his lines because he was trying to say it was a wasted life because it turns and it's really funny because he starts giving this nice speech about how he's retiring, and then he gets all ornery and nasty. Chris Pratt standing there with the shoe shine because he's taking over.
Yeah, he's taking over.
And he's laughing, and this inappropriate laugh to where it's just on him laughing. And I was thinking, that's pretty funny and everything, but did I see that career, like Jurassic Park and Gardens of the Galaxy and everything that he's done since?
Oh, my God, yes.
I mean, what an incredible career.
Off, yeah.
But that was when he was just Andy on Parks and Rec. He hadn't really done much.
I remember being on Parks, and he was talking. He was, again, very conversational guy. Super nice. I'm so happy for success because he's
Me too. I love him. I love his work. I love everything.
He was talking about that he had just finished auditioning for Moneyball, and that he just, he feels confident stuff about it. But I remember just the way he was talking about everything, how confident of years of him doing it, how it just becomes ease, and you got to be comfortable and confident, stuff like that. And I was like listening to everything. I was like, oh my God, yeah,
taking notes, mental notes.
I want to be there, And he was just such a nice guy. And most of my scenes are with him.
That's what I hear. Yeah, super gracious cat.
Oh, yeah, he is. And and so I'm just so happy for his success. He really was an amazing guy.
Me too.
I heard a little bit on the news that he's getting shit over some shit. I don't know exactly.
I'm like, they're coming at him because
he's such a nice guy.
Sweetheart, yeah.
You can never please everybody.
No,
it's crazy. But I'm so happy for his success. He was a nice guy. He's a great actor. Yeah. And then, Guardians of the Galaxy blew him up.
Yeah.
What's funny is I don't know, like I guess after something has come and gone and it's been a long time, you can say, well, I auditioned for this or I auditioned for that. Like maybe not something recent, because if you have there's a crack in the door where they might want to bring you back in for an audition, maybe it's not a good idea to talk about it and say, oh, I just auditioned for this commercial for this big corporate, this big company. So I think there's kind of like a unsaid rule, like don't talk about your auditions.
Yeah.
But I can say that I did audition for The Terminal List.
Ooh.
And you know how you watch your auditions sometimes and you feel good about them, or you think, oh gosh, you cringe or whatever. I felt like that was the best damn audition I've ever done. I was playing a bartender. I did this thing. I worked with my private coach, my audition coach, Colleen Basis, who's great. And I just did this thing where I took this blue towel and I just threw it over my shoulder. She goes, I like that. She goes, because I've worked in restaurants and I've worked in bars, and that's something. And I worked in bars, and I remembered, sometimes you get done wiping something, you just throw it over your shoulder. And I just loved the audition. I thought it was great. I really thought I was going to get it.
Oh, and you didn't?
Well, isn't that the way it goes? Like sometimes you think you sucked and you're not going to get it, and then you book it.
But it's just the casting.
But no, I did not. I did not. You won't see The Terminal List.
If he's right for the casting, you're right for the casting. If not, it's not so much that you did it. You didn't do it right.
Yeah, there's auditions that I've done where I'm like, oh man, I feel good about that, and nothing. And then there's other auditions I'm like, man, I was terrible. Like I remember two great auditions I had in 1 week. This is crazy. So I remember, and it was for pretty big projects. I can't remember what they were for right now. But whatever, I do the audition. It was comedy. I love comedy.
Yeah.
I remember all the producers are there, the casting director. I made them laugh. They're like, oh my God, that was great. On the way out, casting director's like, she's like, hey, Carlo, have a great day. And then there's another actor waiting. I go, good luck to him. Hey, good luck. And the casting director goes, yeah, he's going to need it. I was like, holy shit.
Oh, shit.
Like joking around, but I was like, because of the audition I just had.
Yeah.
Great, whatever. I had another one that week again for something big, and done with the auditions. Like they shake my hand, like great stuff. What are you available? During this time, I'm like, yeah.
Nothing.
Never heard shit.
Well, you know the joke,
again
right?
About it.
You know the ongoing
Nothing.
joke? This one I love is like I do my best auditioning in the car on the way home after the audition. I'm still saying the lines. Believe me, I want to forget about it. I don't want to think about the lines that I just worked on for 2 days or whatever.
And I'm a terrible auditioner.
I auditioned for Party of Five. You remember that show? Not this newer version of Party of Five. And I'll never forget it because it was a scene where I see my daughter with someone that I don't want her with because I'm this big deal in this corporation and I'm wealthy, and she's kissing on this guy that is a busboy, and so it was kind of like that hierarchy of this guy was kind of like didn't want his daughter with his own. So some happens where the lights come on or something, and I see this. And I say her name and I tell her, what are you doing and everything. Well, my father was strict. I mean, make me cry just by looking at me. He didn't hit me, like I said, unless we got into it later when I was older.
They didn't need to back in the day.
No,
right?
he was a Marine for a little while, and he was nice. I'll describe him as a likable guy. You would love him. Irish guy. He born here in Boston, but he was just a likable guy, really great. But I played it like I thought he would, when he was mad at me, like, Jimmy, he'd look at me. So at the end of the audition, the lady, the casting director says, well, he doesn't hate her. And I was like, oh, that's a bad note. I think that kind of, it's safe to say I'm not gonna get that.
But sometimes they'll help you adjust to it. Like you make some proper adjustments, and then those you could still nail it.
I love talking about like auditions that went well or didn't go well or something.
Like I said, man, I'm terrible myself because auditioning is just a whole different beast. I mean, I've been doing this long enough where I've had plenty of auditions, but I've been, I've booked plenty of projects, and so different. Casting directors, some really good, some really bad. But when you go into what bothers me about auditions is you go in there and, the casting director reads it. Sometimes they give you all, sometimes they don't, whatever. But on set, it's never like that. Yeah. The director come up to me like, that's not working, let's change it. Or, let's do it different. Let's do a few takes. You know what, improvise this. There's so many variables that go into consideration that you don't get in a casting office. And there's projects where I'm like, fuck, I did a terrible audition, but I know I would be good at that role.
Right. It's so frustrating.
I know that I would kill that role. Yeah. But they don't give you that chance, or it's just, it is what it is. Somebody else did a better job and they believed in them, whatever. Right. But that's what it takes, is that one job, like we said earlier, for you to take off.
Someone told me, like, there's room for you. It's like, don't feel like you can't, I mean, there's room for you. They need people. There's only one you. I mean, we hear all this stuff, right? But that one yes, I love to think that one yes could change the trajectory of your career and put you on a path of doing
I love using the example of Chris Pratt. He was before Guardians of the Galaxy. Chris Pratt, was a series regular on TV. A bunch of movies on this, but wasn't the A-list actor, wasn't the lead. He was
he had like
second hand.
A few episode arc, 2 or 3, 4 or 5 episode or something.
But even in movies, he was like in the movie Wanted and a bunch of movies. He was always the second man. He got the opportunity to audition for Guardians of the Galaxy, did a great job, and blew it up.
What a great movie!
If he doesn't get that opportunity,
I can't wait to see the third one.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. I bet. If he doesn't get that opportunity, he wouldn't have gone to where he's at.
Right. So there's a lot in.
He reminds me of a lot of Patrick Swayze in the way he acts. He just, there's a quality of him. Every time I watch the way he talks,
there's something there. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know what you mean.
And Patrick Swayze is one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, he's great.
But two things is one, a great friend of mine. His name is Ronnie Marmo. He's the artistic director of Theater 68. There's one in New York and there's one here, and he always would tell us that if you stay in this long enough, it's not if, but when the opportunity comes and you're in the room, just be ready to kick the door down. So be prepared. It's like you will get an opportunity that could get you that job.
That's right.
And you might not get it because you might look like somebody that the director doesn't like. I've seen that happen before too. I've heard about that. But to do that, and then the other thing is I wanted to tell you guys is I've been in some incredible rooms because of Lonnie is we've been to some fundraisers and stuff like that, and I'm sitting next to Sybil Shepherd.
Wow.
And I don't know how we started talking about the Last Picture Show and Peter Donovich or how we say it. I hope I'm getting his name right, but she said
Donovich.
Yeah. She said, auditioning is just weird. She said, I never really liked it. I got to a point where I didn't have to audition anymore. And she said, it's not like acting when you're acting on set and with people when you have everything there and you're in it doing it when you're filming or when you're doing a play or when you're doing a scene, you know, she said auditioning is weird.
It's a different beast. It
Yeah.
really is.
So from what I was getting, it was kind of she didn't like it. You know, she just didn't
And it's
do
the
it.
only
That
way to get a
process.
job.
Yeah, it's
Right.
a catch
Unless
22,
somebody
right?
catch 22. Unless somebody believes in you, just sees you, and they're like, all right, we'll give
There
you a
was
job.
a guy,
you know?
Dean Bortel. He's a working actor. He was doing a free, a talk or whatever you want to call it, for AFTRA. This was back when I joined AFTRA because it was an open door
It was
policy. You could just
AFTRA
pay the
or
money.
SAG.
Well, what happened was they were voting on merging the next day, and I thought I was being slick. And I got down there by 5 o'clock, paid the $1,200, got my little AFTRA card. They voted the next day, and they didn't merge. So I was AFTRA. A lot of good it did me. I wasn't really working in television.
But now they're
so-
merged, right?
But then they merged.
okay.
But I already became SAG before they merged.
Got it.
Oh, please don't tell me I forgot what I was saying. What was I talking
So
about?
it was a
talking about
merge. You
Carlo.
became AFTRA,
No.
auditions.
Oh yeah, Dean Bortel.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a senior moment. But he said, "You guys that are bitching and beefing and moaning and groaning about auditioning, you're going to be auditioning more than you're going to be working for
It's true.
unless you get really super lucky." But
Yep.
the way a person like an actor's career goes, you're going around Hollywood, you're going around this town, putting on little shows all over town for these for casting directors, in these offices. So you might as well enjoy it. You better get used to it because
Wow.
that's what you're going to be doing. That's your job.
That's really your job.
That's
what they
really your
say,
job.
Yeah. You have to fall in love with the process.
Yeah.
And this whole pandemic has changed the whole auditioning thing.
Right.
Because it's now self-tape, and I feel more comfortable with self-tape.
I do because, and I got, the habit is bad when you feel like you could do 15 takes, because when you go into the room, they might give you an adjustment and ask you to do it again. I've screwed up in the middle of it and just blew my lines, and they said it's all right, just start over.
Right.
But that's very limited on how much. But you start doing these self tapes, and you do 3, 4, 5, and you look at them, and you've picked the best one, and you send that in, which is nice. And I think it's good. It's
got the pros and cons.
Yeah, because it's like you're rehearsing, but you're doing it on camera, and you get a good one, and you decide you're going to use that to send in. But I can't remember who told me they just do 3. Because usually the first one's
3.
pretty good anyway, but they just keep it. Patrick Gallagher is a friend of mine. He was in all 3 of the
Night of the Museum,
and he was he has a SAG award for the ensemble.
I drove him when he was in Glee.
Of
back in the
Glee,
day,
he got he has a SAG award from Glee. He's going to come on. He said he would come on.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah. So I always ask, do you like going in the room?
I like
or do
going
you-
in the room.
I don't.
I
I
do.
like the self tape because then I'm just in my own environment. If I have someone that can act, that can read with me, if they can't act, I ask them, please don't try to act. Because I had a buddy of mine and he was doing the voice.
Yeah.
I auditioned for Frank and Penelope. You remember that movie with Sean Patrick Flannery?
With the guy we had the other day, a while back?
Billy
Yeah,
Budnich was in that.
And Kaylee.
And Kaylee.
Kaylee Cowan.
She's wonderful. We met her. I love Kaylee.
Yeah, she's awesome.
But Kevin Dillon got the part.
Oh,
So
look at
I
that.
felt pretty cool about that. I was
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm
He's
not
been at
worthy.
it for- yeah.
If Kevin Dillon gets it, I'm fine
Yeah.
with that. I would have cast him. I always look at that too when I see who they
Are we going over, Ollie?
cast. Only about an hour and about a half hour over.
No, like 10 minutes over. No, we're
We're at 8:01 right now.
okay.
Okay. All right. Well,
It's been
great. You're gonna come back on.
Carlo, can you
Yeah,
come back
of
for part
course.
2?
And
You got a
sometimes-
lot more to say, I bet.
And what we're doing is sometimes we're looking for somebody that can maybe pinch hitter, like a pinch hitter for to be just sit as a co-host.
Yeah,
like a
just
third
come and hang
co-host.
out.
Just
Okay.
come and hang out when we
Yeah.
have a
Yeah,
cool
that's
guest.
what we're
and
doing. It's fun.
We could just chop it up. Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
so-
I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
All right, nice.
Cool.
And you're close, right? I mean,
Yeah,
kind of-
5 minutes away.
Okay.
So
Literally.
he'll be
All
the
right.
go-to guy. Hey, bro, can you come
Hey,
over?
last minute,
So-
can you come over?
What's the
Jimmy,
reason to make
Jimmy
it?
and James couldn't make it.
Yeah. Well, that happened one time when we had a great guest. Her name is Presley
Oh, yeah,
Tennant.
we did, yeah.
And she brought her guitar. She's like this country star,
Yeah,
right?
she's
Up and
rising
coming,
star.
but she's just
amazing. Great.
wonderful. And it was like one of the only days that I was actually on a set all year long. And I worked late. And Jimmy was just like, I said, well, I'm sure I'll be, my call time is a couple lines. I'll probably be, I know it could, be a long day, but I'll probably be there at 8:00 at night or 7:00 at night.
Never.
And I could never,
count
I was working with David Allen Greer. We were having a great time with it, but I told him, I said, I'm not going to get out of here. So they had to start and they did the whole thing. I wonder where James is. Oh, he's working on set and everything. But Jimmy got her to play her guitar, and they sang Tennessee Whiskey from Chris Stapleton together.
Yeah.
That was a great episode. So we're going to try to get her. We want her to come back while I'm here. You come on.
Yeah. She's great. She's great.
Yeah.
She's in Nashville right now, so
a lot of fun.
A lot of fun things she's doing. She's doing great stuff.
But you didn't close your computer because that's supposed to be the.
I know it is. But we're just. It feels like we're just getting started.
I know. That's the way it was with the SCO triplets and with a lot of great guests. It just feels like we're just
fun times here.
Yeah, so we really can't wait for you to come back.
Yeah, definitely call me in, man.
Thanks for coming to the Jim and James Morning Podcast.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Carlo Mendez, follow this guy.
Yeah.
He's going places for sure.